Alright. My new MGK album might get views? Yeah, maybe. Make a second channel for smaller albums? Maybe. I've not listened to the new Model Actress. I really want to. That first Model Actress album was so fucking good. Oh my god. Anyway, enough blabbering. Let's get into the album. Ladies and gentlemen, Amplifier Worship by Boris came out in 1998. 5 tracks, 1 hour and 3 minutes. Let's get up the album of the year on this shit. And with the Supertramp vid, I still haven't gotten around to it because I have been so busy. I've been so fucking busy. Oh my god, Boris has so many fucking albums. Since 1998, Boris have released 45 albums. That's insane. This is their debut. It's well received as well. Got an 80 critic, 80 user. People really like this album. Yeah. Am I doing their Discord? What, Boris? Yeah, all 45 albums? Absolutely. Are my live streams off my channel? Wait, what? I'm confused. These live streams are on the same channel as my main channel, yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know too much about Boris. I've heard a couple songs from them. One song of theirs made it onto my like songs, which is the title track off of Pink. But besides that, I don't know much going into this. I'm going into this essentially blind. Track 1, huge. Boris did a thrash metal album in 2020. That's kind of hype. I've heard that, Jerry. It's really good, yeah. Holy... Thank you, DHD Blink. Dear Lord. Yeah, I unlist my streams now. The links are still up in my Discord server. But for copyright... For copyright stuff, I need to unlist them. Well, I don't need to, but I've started doing that. I might start relisting them soon, though. I can send you that area, yeah. Nope, no XTC albums. Hey, thank you. That's one's reaction. The edited video, that's probably my favorite video I've done. Is the stream quiet? The stream, it doesn't look like the stream's too quiet. Like on my audio leveling shit on Streamlabs, the audio looks like normal volume. Like 3 times. Really? Is the Rubber Soul live reaction lost? I don't actually know where that is. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was something I filmed or if that was part of a request stream. Fucking fly on my face, dude. And music is my preference. Anything. You can send in anything. I don't care. It was a request stream. Okay. I can get that to you later. I'll get to it. I'll get to the clips, don't worry. Why does Fantano have to give that shit a 10, dude? Like, now it makes it so that I have to cover that shit. This is not true. This is false. This is a lie. Do I like the sun? The sun's pretty cool. The sun is what makes this planet sustainable. Sustainable. And it keeps us in orbit. I'd say so. Probably not Solomon. I don't have too much interest in Alex G. I mean, you can, but that being your next editor album will just mean I get to it sooner. Editing Lemon Demon next is gonna get lots of hate. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch a Lemon Demon video. I mean, I'm down to upload it just in case, but I don't know how much interest there'd be in a Lemon Demon video. Listen to this. Amplifier Worship by Boris. If I give it a 10, you get to pick another free album, which isn't gonna happen. I can guarantee you that Clips album won't be a 10 for me as well. How long is the album? It's an hour and 3 minutes. That's such a dumb rule, by the way. If you send in a 10 out of 10 album, you get another free album. That's a terrible rule. I don't know why I said that. I'm gonna be honest, chances are I don't implement that in the future. I've not listened to any of their albums, but I don't know if I'd make a video on it. And sometimes I turn the paid request albums into videos. Not all the time, though. It has to be a 10 out of 10 I've never heard. What albums have I given a 10? Right, I'll show you guys the 10s. If you want to see my 10s, just go to my album of the year. My 100s are all my 10s. Long Season, Bursting, Whatever People Say I Am, You're Never Fully Supposed to, Animals, Songs for the Deaf, Laughing Stock, Violator, Songs from the Key of Life, The Glowing Man, Holy Ado, What's Going On, Purple Rain, Nevermind, Swift Butterfly, A Crow Looked at Me, Lateralis, The Glow Part 2, Toxicity, Trench, Kind in Rainbow's Kid A, OK Computer. Those are my 10s. Oh, these are in rows of 6, not 5. I was about to say 24 and then they're in rows of 5. Yeah. Yeah, fully you do one of the best albums ever. Ever. It slaps. Appetite for Destruction? No. Yes, the Guns N' Roses album, I've not heard that. I don't like Guns N' Roses. I can't lie. Yeah, the Pharrell production on that. I was shocked when I learned that Pharrell Williams fucking produced the Fall Out Boy album. Alright. I have to admit, I wasn't fully in that song for most of it. That track, I get what it's going for. It's trying to be this big, entrancing, you know, just numbing sludge metal song that is just droning on and on and on and on and on. And look, for as much as I do like repetitive music, for as much as I will happily listen to like a 10-minute drone section in a song, I found that track to just be a little bit too tedious. I just wasn't interested or invested in the progression of this drone. I wasn't all that locked in with the overall tone or aesthetic of the track at all. I just found it to be, I don't know, in comparison to a lot of other drone-adjacent music, I just didn't find it to be quite as immersive, which I think is the biggest thing for this music, is that it needs to be immersive because of how long it is. And if that immersion is broken, it can easily get a little stale for me. I would give that a solid 5, because I do feel like there were moments in there that sounded incredible, particularly the final couple minutes of the track, where you sort of started to get a lot of these little flourishes thrown in there, these little effects thrown in there to elevate everything that was happening. It felt like the equivalent of the song reaching a climax, where you have like the low end kind of rising up out of the ground, stuff like that, that did genuinely feel like it elevated it and made it way more intense. But yeah, besides that, I feel like that most of this song I just found to be a little whatever. Not bad, just not the most engaging. Only one request for today's stream. Only one request for Friday and Sunday streams. New Geese album's going to be produced by Kenny Beats. Really? Holy shit, it is. Wow. Who produced the last one? James Ellis Ford produced the last one. Huh. Interesting. Up next we have Gambuki. I'm probably saying that wrong. Any Melvin albums? I have not. I don't think so, at least. I've not heard that Idols album, so I don't know how well Kenny Beats works in a rock environment. Focus on me, damn it. Focus on me, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, a couple of those. The King of Limbs was the biggest example I can think of. The King of Limbs I just did by myself. remember what the last one was. Feel like they turn out better. I mean, I don't know, the single reactions definitely. Part of me wishes I filmed the 3 Oasis videos off stream so that I could drop them as like surprise videos. Going Mr. Bad Soup. Jira sounding ass backing vocals. Yeah, we need to update this. Chivo said he's gonna send me the updated thing later. Like I've said, I'm gonna try and learn it again eventually. I get asked that shit like 7 times a stream. I will eventually, just not now. Oh shit. indeed. 15, almost 16 minutes. Like a fucking jazz drum solo. Counting the upbeats with the stepped hi-hats. The way he's rolling down the toms, using the cymbals to kind of accent the end of each like set of bars. We're lying back for this one. I will say the lengths of these songs don't feel necessary at all. Particularly this track. The sound of this is incredible, undeniably. The jazzy drum solo over the top of this, extra bits of percussion, these drony guitars, they're like flying all across the mix, being panned across the place. Super distorted, crunchy bass. The actual sound palette here is way stronger than the first song. But the length of this track doesn't feel warranted. I don't know why it's as long as it is. Need shrooms so time is not an issue and it'll be more immersive. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a little tedious to get through. Drugs are bad. That's correct. Sounds like a washing machine slowing down. Oh shit! I didn't ask you to say that for me. I didn't ask you to say that for me. Originally, it's where I'm originally from. And nobody knows where I am now. Well, besides people who actually know me. Yeah, you motherfuckers are never gonna figure out where I moved to. Birmingham? No, I don't live in Birmingham. Alright, Gambuki is much better than the first song. Transition? Oh yeah. Do I use a VPN? Obviously. Who doesn't use a fucking VPN? Gambuki, much better than the first song. Feeling a solid 7 on this one. I, again, feel like the runtime of this track, like the previous song, is just too much. It doesn't really feel like it warrants 15 minutes, and at points could kind of get to me being like, where is this going to go? Where's the next rise? Where is the next, you know, progression of the track? You know, I start, like, thinking that, and that kind of becomes an overbearing thought over the song for me. But the actual sections themselves sound fucking amazing. The blending of textures here and just instrumental elements in general is absolutely stunning. That jazzy drum solo that takes up a good, what, like 6-7 minutes of the track in the middle. The ridiculously distorted, crunchy bass throughout this song gives the song a very harsh edge, very harsh low end. And on top of that, you have some of the most blaring guitar tones I have ever heard on this track as well. This really just feels like they're trying to create the biggest, loudest song possible while still being the slowest it can be as well, without getting to the point of being, like, just full-on ambient, I guess. That was, yeah, impressive, but it didn't need to be as long as it was. Yeah, 7.4. I need to put my scores now in the air. Right. There we go. Pet Sounds is extremely similar to the Beatles. Not really. No. I mean, there's similarities, but extremely similar. I mean, I don't know, a lot of the time people will just compare like any 60s music and be like, oh, it's just the Beatles. But no, it's Pet Sounds, the Beach Boys, their own thing. There's obviously parallels between the two bands, but they're their own thing. Hammer. Up next. You born in a German town? Nice. Don't worry about the XP thing. It's just a dumb thing that YouTube added. And you can't turn it off. Said the album sound like Sgt. Pepper's but worse? No. No. Firstly, Pet Sounds, again, you can make some parallels to Sgt. Pepper's, I guess, but no. And also, Pet Sounds is just way better. Pet Sounds is like the infinitely better album than Sgt. Pepper's. We're talking like the best Beach Boys album versus like the 5th best Beatles album. Something like that. 4th or 5th best. Yeah, Japanese band. Yeah, of course I have. It's on my 10s. It's my gateway album into hip hop. Adoram, it's only one request for Friday and Sunday streams. We got 2 more after this, Mr. Bedsu. But another like 30 minutes of album to go after this as well. The final 2 songs are long. Nice! Best song so far, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, that song is the most immediate up to this point, despite still having its droney sections. They crank up the tempo on this track half the length of the previous song, and they just give you this straight, punchy... I say punchy, still 7.5 minutes, still a fairly long song. But yeah, this song just feels like it's feeding you information way quicker. It feels like you are being just... like constantly having shit thrown at you. It has that kind of overbearing, almost impossible to follow along with feeling that a lot of way more fast-paced metal music does. Like listening to like a death song for the first time, trying to keep up with everything that's going on is like fucking impossible. It felt like I got that here, where this track just felt like the evolution, when it got to that droney section where the drums were going around and around in the mix, the constant repeating double track guitar riffs, the bass kind of rising in and out of the song. Outside of that, it just felt like the song was just pure chaos, and that was kind of a moment of levity in there. That was incredible. That's like a low 9 right there. That is kind of what I wish this entire album was. Also, only one request per person today, Adam. For Friday and Sunday streams, only one request. Kurimizu. I'm saying that wrong. Are there other albums more? Yeah, I imagine I'd enjoy like an album like Boris or Pain, yeah. You can just send free requests in the chat here. That should say 1 free request. But yeah, 1 free request per person today. You just put the name of the song and the artist in the chat, and then I add it to the wheel. Whichever one you prefer, I don't mind. Lying back for this one again. Headrest on the chair. Edit her album when? I think it's Roland Mars' album today. If I remember correctly. I don't know. Yeah, the key is usually down here, but when it's an album, I just cover it up with the album scores. Yeah, I've had a good bit of fun doing CC, not really my thing. No strong feelings. Ariana Grande is fine. I have heard that album. I wasn't too crazy on it. Swans, System of a Down, those are like the big three. I guess on top of that I'd throw, as in terms of like more modern artists, like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. In terms of like more current bands. Like I returned to a bunch of King Gizzard albums. I don't know, I don't really have too many like favourite artists, if that makes sense. It's more just like albums that I return to. I do have like you know, my list of like top favourites, but it's usually more album based than artist based. Got a 46-minute one in? Nice. Which one's that? Queens of the Stone Age. Absolutely. Fucking love to playing Queens of the Stone Age, that'd be so cool. I wish I was good enough to play in Tool. Danny Carey's my favourite drummer. Being good enough to play in Tool would be good. I've not played in about a year, but yeah, I got to about that level. I was playing along with Songs for the Deaf. None of like the double kick stuff that's implemented on there. I can't play double kick VRs. I could play along with Songs for the Deaf. I need to practice up a bunch when I finally fucking get my drums here, whenever that is, to get back to that level. But yeah, I could more or less like keep on pace with the album. I learned a couple songs from Songs for the Deaf for my drum lessons. I did No One Knows. I think I did like a simplified version of First It Giveth without any double kick. I did Go With The Flow as well for my drum lessons. What else did I do? I think that was it for songs I did with Songs for the Deaf. I'm not even gonna try again. That track felt like the better version that I wanted out of the first two long songs. That song was way more explosive. It felt like the drone was a lot more hypnotic. Like I could fucking fall asleep to that shit. That track literally did exactly what I wanted the first two songs on this album to do. It was that immersion. It was that kind of overwhelming heaviness, the fascinating sound play that I wanted to be able to figure out and dig deeper into the entire way throughout. This song just felt like there was all the meat to chew on the bone in the world. You know, it felt like this song was about as densely packed as it could possibly be without getting to the point where it's just too much. Like, this song is just, like, unable to carry it some way. If it feels like the song is just teetering on that edge, like, if it was any more packed, it could be like the straw that broke the camel's back. No, as is, they really figured out how to balance that song perfectly and make it so that you have so much to dig into throughout that, despite being so repetitive and having mostly, like, drony sections. That was impressive as hell. That is what I kind of wanted the first two to be. Flat 9. Alright. Final song. Jesus fucking Christ. This album has both felt like it's flown by and like it's been the longest album of all time. Final song, Vomit Self. So for the longest songs, it just seemed like that's the best environment to listen in. Okay, we'll lay back. Oh, okay, I'll get a bit closer though. Like a solid 9 for me. Need to re-listen to it to get a specific score, but it's incredible. Not listened to it in a long time. The darkest song of the bunch. The song feels like it sounds like a big beast crawling out of hell or something. Drums? That's what I want to know, dude. That's what I'm saying. I need them, bro. It literally, I've not played drums since end of September last year, early October, whenever I moved. I'm gonna be so fucking rusty. Really so rusty. It's not even funny. I need to stretch more. My entire body feels so tense. When are they coming? I don't know. That's what I want to know. I need them. The thing is, it's not like I just haven't had my drum. I've not been around any other drum kits in a year as well. Like, I don't have any friends that have drum kits. I've not been to any places that have any that I've been allowed to play. I've not been able to touch drums for a year. I said for years. Eventually. Not right now, but at some point I will. Drags you down from that was difficult. That's been fucking like impossible to talk about up to this point. It's like impossible to analyze this shit. Was the Dig Out Your Soul video? Well, I got a couple other videos I gotta get out first, but yeah. It'll be out soon. Within the coming, like, weeks or so. Coming couple of weeks. This type of shit, listen to a complete album is hard. I get you. I get you. Hold up, right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're putting a pause on the drone to see what Spiller's Burner has to say about the Beach Boys.
My only thing is I feel like I have nothing interesting to say about this band. because it feels like the 10th or the 7th Beatles album I've listened to and not the first Beach Boys album. Like, there's nothing wrong with this band. Like, literally, it's just the Beatles. Like, literally, there's no difference. There's not a single difference. I'm telling you, like, there's nothing unique they do in comparison to the Beatles. Like, I genuinely cannot name one thing. The singer fucking sounds the same.
Yikes. Yikes. Ugh.
And that is the most popular band ever. And that does your whole thing, but just kind of better. And it's never about who does things first. It's about who does it better.
I agree with that.
And
well, not that it's never about who does things first. So, like saying it's never about who does things first, that's not true. But most of the time, I think that the quality over time.
If your whole thing is like, I'm just kind of a slightly, I'm not saying this is bad. This is like an 8 out of 10 album so far. It's just, if I listen, would I ever pick this over any of the 6 Beatles albums I've ever listened to? Like, no, I wouldn't.
Any of the 6? You think there's 6 Beatles albums better than Pet Sounds? The only one Beatles album that I'd say might be better than Pet Sounds is Abbey Road, but even then, those 2 albums are like neck and neck. I think Revolver is better. That's valid. Revolver's my second favourite Beatles. Yep, we're doing Boris on the final track. Favourite Beatles albums are Hard Day's Night. Interesting. He doesn't like Abbey Road that much? Really? Damn. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing that's been impressing me the most about this album, is how much they've been able to get in having it feel as harsh as possible, and building very strong sonic imagery with such simplicity. Even on like the first track that I wasn't too crazy on, I felt like they were still able to do that to a degree. Have I learned any Ringo beats? Once you learn the standard 2 and 4 beat, you've essentially learned 90% of what Ringo does. But yeah, I did a handful of Beatles songs for my drum lessons. I did Come Together, I did Tomorrow Never Knows, I think I did Ticket to Ride? I might have done Ticket to Ride for my drum lessons as well. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did a good handful of Beatles stuff for my drum lessons. I have, yeah. The album's not for me. It's not my cup of tea. It was like 20 minutes long live, and you just disassociate the whole time. It was great. Yes, real music, exactly. 17 minutes of pure sludge. It's like the best shit ever. He does have some cool parts, but I feel like for the most part, he does his job, but nothing really more. For the most part, he does have some great beats though. I just wish he got more creative on like the vast majority of songs. I heard Nurse with a Wound? I don't think so, no. It's not ringing any bells. If that's an album, definitely not, but if it's a song, then I don't think so. Oh, it's a band, I see. Yeah, I've not heard any Nurse with a Wound. I've already heard every Nirvana album. To Soliloquy for Lilith. It was made with just feedbacks of a shit ton of effects. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You can feel free to send a free request. The free queue is still open. Apocalypse Dreams, that is a Tame Impala classic right there. You know, despite the fact that it is the same chord for 14 minutes, this has flown by. This song has felt like it's breezed past the quickest of the long songs. I completely agree with that, yeah. It's only one request per person today. Nothing in my way. The Friday and Sunday streams are one free request per person now because of how many paid requests we get, and I need to want to be able to get as many people's songs played on the free queue as possible. Check my DMs. What is this? Alex Warren? The fuck is this? An hour and 3 minutes? Why are you sending me that? Anyway, Vomit Self. Again, like I said, despite the fact that this is essentially just the same fucking chord being hit for like 14 minutes, this track is able to still be so tonally distinct. It's still able to create such a harsh, disgusting, difficult to stomach texture and aesthetic that it can just kind of envelop you and still, like, not switch up and still be immersive. I am so impressed by that song. I wouldn't come back to it. I would find myself coming back to tracks 3 and 4. I would not find myself coming back to this, but I'd still give it an 8. Because I feel like the fact that the song is able to be like the sludge equivalent of ambient for 17 minutes, I wasn't bored for a single second. I was actually invested throughout the entirety of that song. That was great. That shit slapped. I don't have too much to say about it besides that. Incredibly simple song despite it being 17 minutes. Yeah, it was good shit. Alright. That was Amplifier Worship by Boris. What a journey of an album. Holy shit. It feels like it's both... It both flies by, and it's also like double its length at the same time. That album is a mindfuck in terms of your perception of time while listening to it. It is a ginormous, expansive sludge metal album with a lot of repeating drones. The album seems to be very invested on numbing the listener and trying its best to lure you into a state of mental ease, despite how heavy it is. It's trying to create a juxtaposition, essentially, between being the most relaxing album possible while still being heavy as fuck, while still being disgusting, twisted, distorted, and yeah, I think it does that pretty successfully. I will say the first two songs, I think the first song is very whatever, and the second song I thought was good but not great. I just found those two tracks to be fine, but not really as... I don't know, not really as immediate. It's not necessarily not really as immediate. I feel like they're just a little too slow. Like, their progressions aren't interesting enough, and like I don't find myself getting invested on the direction that the songs are taking as much as I do the final three. But then you get those final three, particularly Hammer, which is this fast-paced, punch in the face, just straight sludge metal track. One droney section in there that doesn't last too long though. I thought this album was good. This was a pretty good release. Let's run the numbers, and then I will tell you what the big score is. Alright, the calculated score is a 7.9, and I think I would give it that. I'd give it a 7.9 out of 10. Just below an 8. That's all we need for an album of the year review for this, I guess. Alright. There we go. There's album number 1 down of today's stream. And also, it's break time.